School District Board meeting of September 27th to order. If we could please have roll call. Yes.
Mike Baldwin.
Here.
Peter Hernandez.
Here.
Elizabeth Martinez.
Here.
Patricia Moore.
Yes, sir.
Jose Rodriguez.
Here.
All present.
Other comments for closed session? Seeing none? Okay. Do we have a motion to convene closed session?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Convene closed session. Yeah. No. Yeah, that's what we want. Okay, yeah. I know, it's okay. What happened today and then come back?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Hey, man, I have to share.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right, see you in a little bit.
Lisa sent an email to her PTO board and told them to get it down. Good. Yeah. Well, she had it. Yeah. Once I accepted it. They killed everybody. They killed about it. And then where? No, we didn't want it. I looked it over the books because it came to treasurer and stuff. I realized the 501c3, they never did the tax returns, they never took care of all those little pieces of paperwork. So do it every year. Supposed to have 501c3 status, which is not that. Yeah, but you can do it. Everything all has the same treasurer. I told you that they have to have time with it, send an email out to all the listeners and say, this is what I'm doing, and take a look and check with the PTO to see if they're in the same boat, because it's mine. That's what I've been doing that. There's a deal with something like that. I don't know. Those up there, the thing is that's going to happen.
No. Good.
Global warming, I got a feeling it might not. System update. Just put that money there. You know,
I'm gonna run off, and I will not forget to put them out of there. agenda online.
It'll be already embedded in there. Once they're approved by the board, they release them, and they're already embedded part of
So
it.
just become part of the agenda.
So when you're looking at it, for example, let's look at this. Look at
Oh, I see. Okay, okay. So if they just heard a report, there's not.
It'll just say the board approves.
He's one of he wants to know what he can do for that money. Oh, they gave you a presentation last April. It's just a report. Yeah, how come you do that? Yeah. Because it used to be, you know, you went to a whole different thing to find minutes.
It's embedded.
Thank you.
how do we control this? Do we control this people here?
When's the meeting starting at? 6. Okay. Thank you. How's it going?
Howdy, howdy.
No. What fire curtains? So they even moved down here.
No, we just shifted this way, because we were gonna do something with it, and then switched the last minute. So I'm not sure that
Cool.
They're treating you well. How did it go here for the, how did they like the, salad?
They liked it, I said, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, they liked it pretty good then. I'm always a little leery.
It was good, because it was light, it was a warm day,
Yeah,
it was refreshing.
yeah, they did a good job with it. Nice, fresh stuff. Yeah, it was awesome. It was like that. Live in a good area. Yeah, so a lot of times you can get that.
So good.
So this time of year, it's okay. A little bit later, when I would order produce, particularly with lettuce or bananas, it was up. Drivers would put them in their cabs with them, and ship it to Goodyear. And not either kill them or freeze them. It's a very sensitive. Yeah, I think about that a lot. Man, I think it's right here, all good. Yeah,
Yes, we are spoiled for you.
it's okay. We're spoiled everywhere. I mean, even in Alaska.
Yep.
There's shooting and big crab.
It is spent for you.
It's true.
So you're serving king crab now in the cafeteria? Tell me
And
what
then
day that is.
Here's a story. You're getting your business.
I can't wait to have it spent.
So, in Alaska, they had a grant system set up by the state. And they said you can only spend X amount of money, depending on your bills, with Alaska companies. Cannot spend this money on food that doesn't come from Alaska. Well, you know what? That's kind of insane. Because you can't get those produce, although I found it. You know, for a very short period of time, because it's cold, all the time. And so at the end of the year, rather than give my grant money back, I swear to God, I bought king crab all my cafeteria. Really hard. Because it was free to me, it was free to them. And I am mean, everybody's like, what are you doing? And I bought buffalo meat, and I bought as much weird stuff as I literally.
Let's do it.
Well, we're not there. We're not there. And I found a really cool company that gave me an excellent deal.
They provide you with tools to go ahead and steam them, boil them.
And actually, the best way to do king crab is to grill it.
Grill it.
Yeah, because of the natural juices in the food. There's all inside, and it just comes perfectly.
Wow.
Straight down the middle, because there's a year of gold. Yeah, because if you boil it all, it comes out.
So if you lose out
Nice.
over in San Francisco, it's one hour, and all you get is legs. They don't want you to eat what they call the good.
Yeah.
Love it.
So you also eat it just cold, just crack it and eat it.
Yeah.
That's good. Sweet.
Yeah, you never know, wherever you go, there's always news.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Hey, what if I pop up on this thing, you know? The board of the facilities committee, under the proposed project priority list.
Yeah.
Who do I pop up?
That's going to be down at 15.
You're it? Good. Well, I heard that when we go to these facilities.
Well, facilities committee is great, 'cause they're actually pushing for stuff that could really change.
Yeah, I see why it is in the production. Well, it actually keeps you as higher up at some point now.
Well, no, actually, this one right here is not listed priority. It's
Not
not listed
anymore, but
priority.
it was last time John presented it to the board. And it was number 12.
I think it moved up in the other meeting.
Well, the other meeting, because I went, I was like, come on, dude, really? I mean, you're talking about lots of people, lots of billing, lots of this, and lots of that, technology is right. You know, if you want to go with this nice killer building, it's great. There you go.
But you don't want to knock it.
I want to be part of NOC, I want to be on the other side of it. We can put one there.
Hey, you know, John's I built a gymnasium and a cafeteria with the same type philosophy.
I do, as long as they're used for that. But yeah, you know, we're gonna walk down the road one, maybe to create food here. So we don't have, you know, like our lunch today, it was packaged grocery sandwich. And actually, the other side, a really nice whole mess of meat, chicken nuggets. Really nice chicken leg. Anyway, we get production kitchen, we can get that kind of food here, and I can do it today and serve it tomorrow. Rather than order it. Well, yeah, that's the other side of it. And it sort of.
We have a contract through certain.
Contract work.
I love the idea.
Yeah,
The fresh food.
contract.
But the question of, the thing I've always wondered about was Sedesco and the other ones.
Oh, no, I'm not gonna do that.
No. But in terms of looking at how all those combine, I've seen the Sedescos, I've seen this one production.
Yeah.
I've seen the ones where you're buying it from Vegas and it comes over and free thing. So it looks like, yeah, of course, we pay that stuff.
Yeah, it is actually complicated. It is complicated. They're all complicated. It all depends on what you're orchestrating and how you present it. Percentage of THC, quantity,
Right?
more cost effective.
I mean, I'm not gonna talk about football or anything,
So
but
if you're in a production kitchen,
We can go there.
I don't really want to.
you know, maybe it's like 3,000, you know, rather than companies to do that.
You guys ever think back to something to 52? The best thing in the whole world was the cafeteria, flat, big chicken cookies. That were coming back. I know.
I just kind of live in the world that we all live in.
I don't know. I used to not say 2 or 3 every day. I like the little one. I don't know what they're called. They're like brown sugar nuggets or something.
Yeah, the words now.
Yeah, those are good.
There you go. There you go. I know. Here she comes. It's over. I know, I haven't forgotten our conversation about the adult food. You know what? In the adult food, mine, from time to time, we do. This was enough.
You know, I'm in.
Yeah.
Doesn't better cafeteria.
In fact, they had some. For them, under.
I didn't even get over there and steal one.
Yeah, there was over there, and.
You know, you know.
You know where to send those, and you don't.
Look at that.
Don't eat it home, right?
Yeah, all it takes is.
I'm gonna take no taste test.
Quality control.
Quality control, you can send it back there, else I'll just make sure it's up to smell it.
Which I already get.
Yes.
I would share. So, I see that. I don't think so.
What's that?
Everything else is out of my control.
I haven't finished school yet. That's good.
So, you know what I got going for you guys? I have a salad bar that you
Yeah, I'm trying to tell everybody.
So you just.
No, I'm thinking about Jim.
Everyone. Welcome to the Hollister School District regular board meeting. I just want to read something that's off our agenda. Board policy or board bylaw 9324, the district may tape, film, or broadcast any open meeting. The board president shall announce that a recording or broadcasting is being made at the direction of the board at the beginning of the meeting and as practicable. The recorder or camera shall be placed in plain view of all meeting participants. For the regular board meeting, the public may also speak to the board on subjects not on tonight's agenda during public comments. Speakers must complete a speaker's card and present the card to the board clerk. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board. The board shall limit total time for public input on each item to 15 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentations, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. The president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that additional persons speaking only if they have something new to add. Board Policy 9323, as an unagendized item, no response is required from the board or district staff. No action can be taken. However, the board may direct staff for follow-up. So we are on item 5. And at this point, I would like to invite William Gomez Pinajero and Matthew Gomez Pinajero from San Isidro to lead us in the flag salute.
Good evening. We are Matthew and William Gomez. We are kinder and second grade students at Sunny Slope School. Please stand up for the flag salute. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you. is our night, Sunny Slope. There's our wonderful board of Sunny Slope United. We stand. If you have a chance later on after the meeting, just peruse and walk through some student samples of work and the why of our school, some thoughts and thought bubbles that are there on the right side. I would like to recognize some members of the Sunny Slope community. I started there. I came over from Calvary from AAA. I've been there about 7 or 8 weeks now, counting the summer, and it has been a wonderful transition. And there are some people that have made everything a very easy transition. It wouldn't have made everything that's happened possible. First, I'd like to thank Jessica Curry, our PTO. And Cammie St. John as well. Part of our PTO board as well, so wearing 2 hats on the same campus.
She's not here. Yeah.
Jolene Bird and Dee Dee Dozal also were to be honored tonight. They were able to make it out tonight, but quick round of Munoz, our lead custodian who battled through migrant summer school and then brought about 4 other crews out to help get our school ready for the start of the school year when this 701 students showed up for campus on the first day of school. So I would like to thank him as well. Christy Gore, our office secretary. And every principal in here knows the office manager and the office secretary, the lifeblood of our school. Thank you very much for everything. Julie, make it out of you, Julie. And the man I nicknamed the magician, Anthony Rettinger. He's not even on campus. He's still able to make the magic happen. Sometimes he's able to just walk into a room and the computer magically works. Yeah, I'm not kidding. It's really impressive. Stephanie Aguilar, our class order meeting. And then Tina Sian is our health clerk. Back into the classroom and ready to learn. And then also I'd like to honor and thank the person who moved with it 304 miles from Palmdale, Ms. Maria Vargo, the new assistant principal at Sunny Slope. Every single day, make sure the students are getting the exact most of everything every single day.
Aw, I get a hug. We're learning together. Absolutely.
And that is the wonderful people of Sunny Slope.
We are now on item 7, closed session announcements. The board did not take any action in closed session this evening. Approval of the agenda.
Do we approve the agenda?
If I could please get 12E pulled. Yeah, for further discussion.
Do we have a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, with the exception of removing 12E, which we have a motion to approve the agenda.
I'd like 13B pulled. Are members of the public allowed to do that?
No, you are not, sorry. The agenda belongs to the board. Do we have a second? On the agenda?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're down to item 9, public comments. as long as it's not public comment, it would all fall under the same, unless there's a specific agenda.
Yeah.
Ms. Bronson?
When she does it, she'll speak English.
Wait, just, her, but, she wanted to speak for both, for all.
Okay.
Would you like them up there with you?
I'm Celia Luna Narvis. We just came because, we have our kids in preschool, and, well, they told me that they're trying to take staff class away because there's not enough kids or something, but, we came to ask and please you guys that if you guys can hold at least for this year, because our kids are, well, we like how the teacher needs, please teach my kids, because my other daughter was with her last year, and, I like that what you teach, and, I was told that my son was gonna be sent to, both kids, but I really don't like the way, because it's not like they don't teach us, for me, it's like a daycare, instead of, like, my daughter learns super fast with her, because it takes the time, and it's different, and all the kids are right now, I mean, they like her, and it's just like, a moving right now is like, whoa, like, different teachers, another school, and then it's far from, there's parents that don't have a heart to take the kids to another school. And, we want all the ones to see that they can, we want the teachers to be, to keep it there in that classroom. Because I know they told me that they were trying to take that one away and, other schools, but we were asking if they can, if they can do that, at least to hold it for music. Because our kids are used to her, and then they're like, when I was told, I told the parents, and they were like, no, and I was like, well, the only thing we can do is just speak, because if we don't speak, it's like, nothing can be done, or nothing, their kids are, for me, my kids are important because they're special kids, so it's like, I have to be there, and at least, if there can be the other people, at least me, my kids are special kids, and I wonder if you guys keep that in mind, to keep that class, and then, to find, at least for this year, we don't every year, but it's just like, you can't, but at least for this year, to keep that class. But Miss Ortiz, we love her. I love her too, and it's just like, my kids is like, I know that kids love her, because I went to teach, and they have patience for the kids, and, I just want to ask that, for, to keep, the Ortiz for, at least this year, to the kids be happy and everything, in year one. You have to think, and excuse for my English, but it's kind of.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you, you guys.
Thank you, Erin. Was that Sandra, Jennifer, and Esperanza?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Robert Noski?
Rob Bernowski, member and secretary of the Measure and Citizens Oversight Committee, appointed by you on June 4th, 2015. I cannot express how shocked I am that the Hollister School District has taken overt steps to intimidate me into not carrying out my duties as a member of the Citizens Oversight Committee. I am so angry, I have to read from this prepared statement to keep my composure. Without a doubt, in my 20 years of being involved in the education systems of San Benito County, as an elected school board member, as president of the County Committee on School District Organization, by raising 3 children in the public schools here in San Bernardino County and volunteering much, I can tell you the #1 issue why more people do not raise issues of concern at school is that of the fear of being retaliated against by the school. The Hollister School District has proven those fears are very, very real. Just by your agenda item of revising the contract with police consulting, you have proven that I was right about my concerns. If you would care to view all of the correspondence between myself and the district, you will find that I've been positive, upbeat, and just getting to the bottom of the problem. But that's not what you did you? That's not what you did you? You launched a retaliation program. I don't know that I can go to any more Measure M Citizen Oversight Committee meetings. You may have actually embarrassed me out of participation. Are you aware that it is a First Amendment right of the people to petition the government for redress of grievances? When you sent the letter out to the community suggesting that I was breaking wiretapping laws, again, for doing what I am legally entitled to do in common practice, you were chilling my First Amendment rights by smearing my reputation, causing me to be afraid to bring up issues to this legislative body or that of the committee, which is also a legislative body. Even if I were not a member of the committee, you cannot do that to a citizen. It is illegal and makes you, the governing board, remarkable. What were you thinking when you stated, we don't know where Rob is getting his figures from with regards to the amount police consulting could earn in the project timeline? From the schedule that the district sent me. I do not quote figures that I cannot support. It's not my DNA. Making me look stupid to the communities by virtue of your letter has bullied me into silence with the committee. None of you should be surprised or angry that I went to you, the newspaper, or social media, or what I do next with what I thought was wrong. Prior to all of that, I met with the superintendent at her request, expecting a frank discussion on how to fix what I believe was wrong with the arrangement with police consulting. When the superintendent's only words were, I checked it out, there's nothing wrong, and would not discuss anything with me, I posed the question to her, what do you expect me to do now? Go to the board? Go to the newspapers? Go to the TV stations? Silence was the response. I and my family enjoy a great reputation in this community. How dare you try to ruin it? Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Lizette Navarrete.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Mrs. Lisa Andrews, Dr. Dennis Kurtz. We want to thank Lisa Andrews and Kim O'Connor for meeting with us today and informing us of all that had been done to keep the program going, the state preschool program, and answering our questions. We're saddened by the closure, hopefully possible closure, of one class, but we have hopes that the opening of the Chifa apartments will bring us the preschool population needed to keep our program going. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the hearing. Public hearing on textbooks and instructional materials. The board holds this hearing every year on the sufficiency of textbooks and instructional materials. So at this point, I'd like to open the public hearing for any comments, questions, concerns from the public about our textbooks and instructional materials. If anybody would like to come to the podium, you're more than welcome to do so now. Okay. Close the hearing. 11 reports. 11A is Leadership Blueprint Capturing Kids' Hearts Status Report. Dr. Dennis Kurtz. And Kurtz. All right.
This is our crew. I'm going to try to advance. So this isn't really a presentation so much as it is a sort of discussion with the board. But you might know, the board knows that throughout the past year, for over a year, we've had a positive discipline committee that's been meeting with the goal of looking at and changing and thinking about how to change the district's approach towards student discipline. And one of the things that we came up with was that we needed to have a cultural change in the way that we did that. And that cultural change is going to be something that involves all staff members. We need to move away from the I'm not going to put up with this consequence kind of approach to discipline to more of a how can I help you, young man or young lady, counseling approach to discipline. That involves everybody in the school. It won't work if just the principal does that and the teachers don't. It won't work if the teachers do that and the librarian doesn't. So it involves everybody. And so Capturing Kids' Hearts is an initiative that we're going to be rolling out slowly this year, and ultimately next summer, all the staff in the district are going to be trained. So what we did to start this off, we went to nearly 50 participants, administrators, teachers, classified employees, went to a workshop called Leadership Blueprint in the summer for 2 days, and it got us to think about the ways to start modeling this, the ways to start changing the culture in our district, changing the culture in our schools, and showing everybody sort of how it is to walk the walk, so that next summer when we do the Capturing Kids' Hearts, people are going to be ready. They're going to see, okay, this is where we're headed. This is what we've been working on. This is the kind of thing. Now I get it why the principal is acting this way or somebody. So what's going to happen now is we're just going to march through these slides, little by little, not that many, but we're all going to be talking, and it's just a conversation. People could have interrupted me right now if they're too polite. But each of us were there. We were there. We were part of this, and 40 some more people as well. So, Kim, I'm going to hand you the microphone while I advance the slide.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kurtz. Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Andrew. It's an honor for me to be up here. This was a training that was really hit home with me. It's something that I really believe it's important. The question up there is, how do we begin to change the culture of student discipline in our schools? Well, like anything, we start with ourselves, right? If you want more respect in your life, what do you have to do? You have to give more respect. If you want more love, you got to give more love. So to me, this makes sense because it starts from within. So the flipping profile, and I have a flipping profile, and I feel funny saying it. I'm not being rude when I say that. That's the name of the group. So each of us asks people to basically evaluate us, people who work with people that we know, and return the profile to us. And it was, there was times where you open that thing up and it's a little uncomfortable, but that's what we need for growth. You have to be uncomfortable. And that's where we get to reflection that leads to personal goals. In that profile, we get traction steps, and they look at what our personal constraints are. And I'm not going to go over my report. It would take me forever to go over my personal constraints, but we look at those and we get traction steps. Okay, how can I improve for the students, for the staff, for the community? Another thing they pointed out there is thoughts, attitudes, and actions. That's what a leader is responsible for. If you think about that, everything that you have in your life starts with a thought, which leads to an attitude, which then the outcome is the action. So we want to be that model for students. The next thing is we need to grow as leaders to facilitate positive change. In other words, we set the emotional temperature in the room. And we don't want to be too hot, we don't want to be too cold, we want to be nice and right in the middle. So that's what we're doing, and we're excited about it.
Other comments?
Yes, I do have a comment. When I see the word discipline, I know that folks might think discipline, consequences. I don't think of it as discipline. What I think of it as the climate. Having a positive climate at our school, and what we can do to give integrity back to how we speak to students,
especially if they've made a mistake, because everybody does make mistakes.
And so, beyond just us, we do this together with teams. So Betsy's gonna talk a little bit about the social contracts.
Hello, board. My name is Betsy LeMay. I'm your HESTA president this year, and I also attended the 2 days and was also surprised at my flippin' outcome. So when they talk about social contracts, what we really delved into those 2 days were, setting the tone for how we all treat each other with agreement upon that. And we carry that within our classrooms. We all, at the beginning of the year, we talk to our students about how are we going to, treat each other in our classroom. We've done it on our site staff at HCLA, and we turned it into a board that we've all signed. So basically, the social contracts are agreeing on how we're going to treat each other and adhering to that and making it as positive as possible. And that is what we discussed when we did our social contracts.
We have a district level social contract, which is this over here. Some of you might, this is a quilt that basically represents the social contract amongst the administrative leadership team in the district. I don't know, Dr. Andrew might want to say something or real quickly about this. You only have 30 seconds.
I have 30 seconds. I can do it.
This is our presentation.
That's right, it is. So, the administrative team, about 40 of us came together at retreat and decided what were the ways that we were going to be treating each other and holding each other accountable to. And then we made pictures of what it feels like, sounds like, looks like in teams, and then put the quilt together, signed it, and now it's up for us to see and to, we talk about it at the beginning of each meeting, how are we holding ourselves to it, reflecting on it, and then the staff, some staff, administrators have gone back to it.
I wanted to make fun of myself. If you can, I laugh every time I see this. If you can look up there, you see the one in the middle right? It says, Rick, can you point to with the neutral? So I drew that in our group. I was supposed to draw something that represented neutral, but everybody laughed, and I had a great laugh because I drew it with the reverse in the back, right? I mean, I promise I've driven a car. So we got a good laugh out of it. So every time I see it, I go,
As our president says, oh, those are adult pictures. Those are adult drawings.
That was trust, though. That's trust, right?
Yeah.
But the social contract is a way to build trust amongst the members so that they can be honest about telling each other what needs to happen in order to make things happen. So, Cecilia, we're going to talk about the Excel leadership model a little bit. We'll all jump in if you need.
I'm Cecilia Rodriguez. I'm the office manager at Gatlin Middle School and the CSEA chapter president. And I attended the workshop, and on the Excel leadership model, it's engage, explore, communicate, and empower, launch. So we engage as an office manager when the parents come in, the children come in, you welcome them in, you ask them what they need, you listen to them, and there's going to be, of course, dialogue with parents and children to get whatever is needed done. And you empower, I empower the children that are in my office, encouraging them to do better, and I help them sometimes with whatever work they're doing. So that's how I do the encouraging. The launch, take it back to them as they leave to go back to the classroom. Would anyone else like to add?
A few things just to, everyone does this different ways, and what we're trying to model for the children and for everybody is that everyone is a leader in their own way, and that we expect our children to grow up to be leaders. That's what we expect. That's what we want for them. And so these are ways that they can see day in and day out about how that can happen. But there's also a way of talking to kids that takes us from the consequence base, you did this, you did that, this is what's going to happen to you, to getting them, to counseling them, to getting them to think about what they've done.
Thank you. I'm Lisa Dees, I'm the assistant principal at Aro Garden. So if you take a look at these questions, these are kind of guiding questions that we're going to be using. Some have already introduced to staff regarding supervision.
And if you think about, I'm not going to read all of them, but if you think about the alternative, think of the other questions that might be posed if they weren't questions such as these. So the way we communicate with students, these questions actually, with the proper tone, right? Whoever the audience is, a staff member, a student, these questions, when asked and addressed, actually gives the student an opportunity to be an active participant of their own changed behavior, the behavior that we want to see, that they want to see.
So I went to Capturing Kids Hearts with Monique from the HDLA, and we did that in February. We went down south, and they introduced us to these questions here. Well, I've been using these questions not just with students, but I've also been using them with staff, but not necessarily, what are you doing, what are you supposed to be doing, and that it just, learning this helped me engage in a conversation that was, so I wouldn't have to go in and say, what are you doing? I would, they would come to me, so what's happening? It would be a soft conversation. So what do you think is supposed to be happening here? How do you want me to support you with this? So it's giving me, and just a way to, be reflective and have an easier conversation with folks. Having a fierce conversation, but easier, does that make sense?
Any comments about this? This is critical because you think about it. Most of the time when you've ever been like called the principal office, most of the time you just kind of sit there and someone's just talking. I mean, someone growing up is just saying you did this and you did that. This is the rule and you broke it. And like kids, just finally the kid just fall asleep. Right? But the point is, we're just talking, and that kid just waiting for us to end. This is like, so what was supposed to be doing? It's really hard for someone to sit in silence. So they're going to think about it, and if they understand that, and we talk about the idea that all the staff at the school are using basically the same approach. So, whoever, he's going to get it, and he's expected to think these things through. And this is a really powerful way to do it, and it helps them grow. They don't learn what not to do, they learn what they should do. And that's a big, big difference.
The conversation is focused on what should be going on instead of what shouldn't be. Make sure that reflective space of how to get there.
So questions for us? I mean, this is just a big overview. This is 2 days, and we're really, really excited about this. All across the school district in different ways, from the classroom level all the way up to the district level. From the board's perspective, it's like, how are the schools moving from consequences to counseling? That's the sort of big question to be thinking about. If people are coming to you and talking to you about, what's happening in their school, do you see the culture change? This is the goal this year, that we want the schools to be moving. I'm not going to get the whole thing, but from consequences to counseling when it comes to children. Have you seen that? Talking to parents, talking to teachers, have you seen that? That's a question for the board to be thinking about it at a really high level, because that's what we really trying to do.
Are we planning on doing like a freedom focus, kind of gauge where their temperature is? We want you to go out when it's too cold, but we want to be in the middle. So what does that look like for us? And, getting that input from our staff, from our parents, and even from our students, the ones that we can, to gauge that.
We did, it's a great question. We did start last year with a survey that we put out to all the students in the entire district to gauge the temperature of, what's their comfort level at school? Do they feel like adults in the room? Do they feel supported? How do they feel when what are the consequences of not following school rules? So we do have that initial assessment, that initial feedback, and the plan of the committee is to obviously do something at the end of the year as well.
The little kids just had like smiley faces. This went down to TK. They was in English and Spanish, and they had a sad face, a smiley face, and a middle face, right? The older kid had 4 choices, but basically from no to yes, I don't know. And the same questions are asked, some slightly different wording for little kids versus older kids, but the same TK to 8th grade, they were the same thing. And it was all across the school. And that's what we're working.
And it's a powerful thing because you don't realize as an individual the impact that you have on a child. And sometimes you are that role model. You are that connection that they don't have at home that links them to that safe environment at school. Whether it's our teacher, whether it's our secretary, whether it's our yard duty or bus drivers, whoever they are, our maintenance guy. You know, you don't think of the significance that you have when you're engaging in seeing something that probably isn't appropriate. But you have the tools now to engage with the child in a productive, positive way. And I think it's just an amazing thing for us to do this, all of us.
Yeah, it's so important for us as a staff, as a community, to look at the fact that we need to be self-reflective and to realize that, yeah, we can change things. We just start one person at a time, one group at a time, one staff at a time, and move things forward. We can make great changes. I mean, I think all of us as a blueprint framework, we're very excited about it. So thank you for allowing us to do this tonight. We appreciate the time.
No, and I mean, this is so relevant even with our student success. Because I think if they feel connected and supported by us, and I don't think, it's just like anything. If my boss feels good about what I do, there wouldn't be anything I would do for her.
I've been watching Kip for a long time. I've been having kids in this. And, he's got a lot of kids. But it's, he's been doing this for a long time. He's been doing this positive thing. And I've watched kids that have come in with just trouble, just scowls on their faces, like they don't know how to address a situation. He sits down and he gives them the opportunity to succeed. Instead of disciplining them and not giving them any choices in whether they walk out, they've heard nothing, versus now they're engaged. And I've been watching Kip, and I know the heart of this entire community, and HSD has been doing this. And now I'm recently promoted. It works on adults too. It works on, but I also saw in this that it becomes easier for administrators and people that are disciplining because they don't have to do it with such a heavy heart. And so if your life is happier because now you're not having to be that disciplinarian, now you can be positive force, it's easier for all of us. And I've seen it changing already. I really have with everybody. It's moving in the right direction. So thank you all of you for your time.
Getting more of this off the ground.
I appreciate it definitely. I agree with Mike, the fact that there's a big reflective component. That's really powerful. Bring yourself down to kind of ground level and kind of trying to clear your mind and assess your thought process when you're engaging somebody. It takes a lot of work, especially when you're dealing with struggles in life or whatever you have. Imagine a teacher's really hectic day. To reassess might be such a it's a very disciplined attitude. So it is discipline in a sense, but it's self-discipline, and I love that. But that's where I think correction starts, because then you're living what you're espousing, and at that point it's hard to not model that. Yeah, you're enjoying the benefits of the fruits of your own labor, sharing that message, and then the kids are seeing it. That's how you live, so that's how they're going to perform themselves. So yeah, I love the reflective component. So I like to hear more.
Would you switch back to that previous slide, the question? It's going to take, I would think, a lot of self-control on the part of the teacher and the administrator, because you put any one of those questions in a different tone of voice,
Right.
then you have the other reaction. What are you doing? Versus, what's happening? And so, I mean, as a teacher, you're going to have to guard yourself against getting to that point where everything goes out the window and you say what you're really thinking. But yeah, you can get the kids to talk, to use their words instead of using their fists or their bad behaviors.
So that would actually raise the question, so is there like a coaching or supportive component of this amongst each others?
Amongst our committee?
Correct.
Well, we do that every time we meet, and even sometimes we're calling each other and supporting each other, but in a broader piece, as we move forward with this, with the flipping group, there is a follow-up coaching component that comes in too.
And like I don't know, I imagine like a AAA, AA setting where you're like, my name is Peter, and then.
It was like that when we got our profile. We all got our profile.
But it was fantastic. I mean, that's the only way you're gonna grow. You gotta just stare that stuff in the face, right?
It was, I think that's, yes, that's the.
Well, remember he stood over me and said, well, I thought you were a nice big. I am. Just a little assertive.
Thank you for your commitment.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job.
Next report is 11B, the CAP test result. Ms. Wanda Martinez.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Andrew, Dr. Kurtz, staff, and community. Tonight, my presentation is going to be on the results from the most recent administration of the CAS, which stands for the California, sure it does, Assessment of Student Performance and Progress. Pat and I were having this conversation before we started the meeting that we talk in acronyms so much that we get used to it, but we need to remember to explain what these things stand for. So no, I was a little stumped for a minute. The CAP, as you will remember, this is our second year of having administered it, and it is the test that took the place of the old STAR tests of the CST because of the new Common Core standards. So when the Common Core standards were adopted, there are two consortia actually that are developing tests that are used nationwide to test the new standards. And in California, it is called the CAP. And each state is able to twist it a little bit to match the standards that they have adopted. So this particular test, the scores you're going to see tonight, are for the students that took this particular assessment. There is another assessment called the California Alternative Assessment for students that have more severe cognitive disabilities, and those results are not yet available. So what you're going to see here are students that took this test. You will probably also remember, due to lots of dollars that we've spent in order to get ready for this, that it is taken totally online, which is very different than the way the old test was taken, which was all on paper pencil. So there is, of course, a learning curve that goes with that, as well as the new, deeper and more rigorous content. So I'm proud to say that overall, we made progress in a positive direction, as you will see as we go forward. Takes a village. I included this slide. I went to the CAP post-test workshop in May, and I thought this slide was very telling in giving us an illustration of how the test is built and how it is so much harder each year for students to maintain a standard met or exceeded level. As you can see, if you look here, I'm going to use my cursor if I can here. Oops. I used the third grade band here just for an illustration where you can see that another change from the way the scores used to be reported is it used to be a 3-digit number that was reported for your scale scores, and now it is a 4-digit number. And partially this was done because they want the public to know that we cannot compare the old test with the new. This is like a brand new day. We have 2 years of data on this test, and this is what we should be comparing ourselves to. So out with the old, in with the new. And you will see that if you you look at the third grade band here, it starts at 2,114 and goes up to 2623. And this marbled area here at the top is a score band that is not even available to third grade. And you can see, so the top score you can get in third grade is 2623. And as you move across, you can see that it moves, and once you get to 11th grade, you're almost here to the very top. And then the lower scores, the lowest score you can get here. And I didn't include 11th grade because, of course, we don't have that one. But you can see in 8th grade what the score bands are. So part of this is just to show you that here we have this 2431 represents the top of this band in third grade, which is standard nearly met. So you are just at the verge of jumping over into standard met. If the same student maintains 2431 in fourth grade, look where it puts them. To the bottom of that band, and nearly ready to drop down into the standard not met. So this illustrates how the difficulty and the rigor of the test grows. Each year, the student is expected to master the standards for that grade, and then the next year it becomes more rigorous. So this is something that they advise us when working with parents, to make sure that parents understand if your student maintains or even grows a few points every year, it may not be sufficient to keep them in a standard met or exceeded band. So the blue numbers that are up there right now are last year's average scaled score for the district in each grade level. And here are this year's. Just to illustrate that you can see we make growth in every grade level. And I'm going to now go through each grade level specifically so that you can see where the growth is and where it wasn't. So we're going to go through each grade level. This is English Language Arts, third grade. And what you can see here is down here below is the data. So this is percent met or exceeded standards for each of the grade level or each of the schools. And of course, AAA doesn't have third grade, and Mesa Rancho don't have third grade, so those boxes are blank. I've added on the bottom here some information on the number of ELs that we have across the district, because of course one of the largest subgroups that we pay attention to is our English learners, EL. And it's just, I thought this would be interesting to see how they're distributed across the district. And this is third grade. Okay. So third grade, there are 34 English learner third graders at Calaveras. Is how you read it. So the first band is all third graders in English Language Arts the first year we took the test, so in 14-15. Now you'll see how we did this year. Okay. That's all third graders across the district. You can see it by school this year compared to last. The next band is going to be English learners only as a subgroup. Last year, meaning 2 years ago, 14-15, and this year. Okay. As Dr. Andrew likes to say, we always need to know our place in space. So we've also included, this is, district-wide, and then San Benito County, which I only did for this year. I didn't compare to last year, because pretty soon you can get so many lines that people get to me. And then the last column is California, how we compare to the city. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, there are subgroups that we keep track of for the LCAP. And what I did, just so that you can see that we are also keeping track of how these students are doing, I included this slide for each grade level that shows just how our students did this year. So again, this 40% is the same 40% you saw on the last slide for all third graders in the district. And then we have how San Benito County did and how California did. Okay? So that's all. Here is our white student subgroup, Hollister School District, San Benito County, California. Our Hispanic subgroup, economically disadvantaged subgroup, and students with a disability. Again, these being students that took this test, the CAS, not the California alternative.
the county data, does that includes, Hollister Pro? Is it correct?
Yes.
Is it private schools? Do they?
No, private schools do not have to take the test.
They don't take anything.
Okay, so now we're gonna look at math, third grade. And now it's gonna get tedious because the same lines are going to come up, but we're gonna walk through it because I know it's hard to read on the paper, Chad and I were talking about that. And to actually understand what you're looking at. Okay, so I will tell you as we go forward, if there is a 0 in any of the boxes down here, that means 0%. If there is a blank, it means there were not enough students or that they didn't have that grade level. And I'll explain a little bit more as we go on. So here's the 14-15 year, all third graders in math. The 15-16 year. Here are English learners, third grade math for the 14-15 year and this year. Here are the subgroups for third grade in math. Again, the green is Hollister School District, the golden yellow color is the county, and the blue is the state of California. It becomes rather apparent where our achievement gap lies. This is going to be fourth grade, English Language Arts. The distribution of English learners below. Under AAA, you will see the little notation says insufficient number. If there are not enough of students in a subgroup, the data is not published for confidentiality reasons. If this is AAA, they're not that big of a school. If you said there were 2 English learners in the fourth grade, it would be much too easy to identify who they are, and so that data is just not. So the blanks, not that they don't have English learners, they do, but there were not enough at any particular grade level to make it a reportable subgroup, and we want to keep it that way. So here again, fourth grade English Language Arts, the first year we took the test, and this year. You're going to be very proud of AAA by the time we get done with this presentation. Again, English learners, 14-15. English learners this year, fourth grade English Language Arts. And again, you can see the district versus the county versus California over there. Subgroups, fourth grade English Language Arts. Please tell me if you have questions as we go along and you want me to slow down or. Math, fourth grade. 14-15 all students. 15-16. 14-15 English learners. This year, English learners. You will probably recall in the spring when I gave you the update on the LCAP and the annual evaluation that we did, that we had identified math as a critical area. And you will see that because we were looking at our benchmark data, you will see that that is borne out. And so our plans for a lot of what we're going to do this year is going to be around that. Subgroups, fourth grade math. Now we're in fifth grade English Language Arts. Again, ELs below, insufficient number at AAA to be reportable. I want you to notice that 100% is AAA, fifth grade. Keep an eye on that because wait till we get to that. They did an absolutely fabulous job.
Everybody through it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes. English learners and English learners. subgroups, fifth grade English language arts. This one's interesting because the district, the county, and the state are, for all students, are exactly the same, and there's not that much difference until you get to students with disabilities. Fifth grade math. English learners. English learners. Subgroups. Now we'll start with the middle school grade. So this is sixth grade, so you can see a lot more blank because only Maze, Rancho, HDLA, Calibers, and AAA. First year. Second year. English learners, first year. English learners. Math. And subgroups. I'm almost there, 2 more grades. Seventh grade English language arts. AAA 2 years in a row. And math. Eighth grade. Eighth grade math. English learners. Okay, these last 2 slides are just something that we threw in because there are many ways to look at our place in space. And thank you, Mr. Rivas, if he's still here. Mr. Rivas was the one that shared this website. I remember him reporting last year when he was a principal of AAA that they had this ranking that was very high at AAA, and I wonder where he got that information. Well, it was from this particular website, and he got right on it again this year and shared something with us at our principal's meeting. So I called him up and said, hey, where are you getting that? So he shared this with me, and I thought it was worth sharing. This is a website, an independent website, that the sole purpose seems to be to rank schools and how you're doing with the new test. I mean, it's nationwide, because we just focused on our spot here. So what they do is they make a scaled score that takes into account both of the different tests, math and English language arts, and across all grades. And they normalize it and average it and whatever all those statistical terms are, and come up with a score, and then they just rank the schools 1 to 5,601 if you're in elementary school, and 2,409 if you're in middle school. And there's your place in space. Where are you on this list? And this is by school, and you can see that they include Hollister Prep under the Hollister School District umbrella, but that's true of all districts. If you have a public charter in your district, it's included in the ranking. So where we fall with them as part of our ranking is true of all the districts. So you can see sort of where we fall. An interesting thing is this column over here, where you can see how we rank compared to ourselves last year, where we were on the list. Okay, so you have to remember that they take the dice and throw them up in the air again, and where everyone falls this year is based on how they did this year. And so our ranking this year is based on where we fell compared to everyone else this year. So here's how our schools did. I feel compelled to say something about what happened right here with Rancho. Because they had an anomaly that they were the only school where this occurred. They had a naturally high number of parents that opted out of the test compared to the other sites. Most sites had none or maybe one or two, and they had 35. So that is something that kind of has to be taken into consideration, because that's just something that happened there that didn't happen anywhere. Yes, Hardin went up over 1,000 places. Okay, so that's places on the list, right? So even though it may have looked like they, made a smaller amount of progress than others, when you saw the lines jumping up, from where they started to where they went up over 1,000 places. And so here's what it looks like for district rankings. This year we fall at 425th out of 860 districts. Last year, if you look over to the right, you can see we were at 612. So we went up 187 spaces towards the top on the list. And just barely, but it puts us in the top 50%. We scored better than 51.6% of other districts we were compared to. So we're going with that.
187 places.
Places up, right. Okay. So like I said at the beginning, are we there yet? No, not quite. Are we looking at all of these subgroups and deciding what we're going to do? Yes, very definitely. Did we make positive growth? Very definitely. Any questions? Any comments?
One of the things that we think on a lot, and because it's a lot, one of the things that we might want to think about doing is having a board study session in the future where we just focus on achievement so that we can spend more time really unpacking what these scores mean.
That's actually a very good point, Dr. Anderson, because one thing that I meant to mention at the beginning and I failed to do was that also the way we look at this course is very different than what we used to be able to do. We really need to use these to look at the program level, because this is the information that you get. It used to be that for a particular student, you could dig down into the data and say, well, exactly which standards was, might not strong enough. You can't do that. What the parents get is a 4-digit scale score like this and a point on those bands that shows where their student falls. And there is no further. It's just too big of a test and it's too broad for them to be able to report it down to the student level. And we're grappling with that because we're so conditioned to the way we used to look at test scores. And so this is the big picture test that we need to look at. And then, of course, we need to look at all other data points that we might have that will help inform us as to exactly where we need to go. In a big picture, we can see we need to work on math. But to go down standard by standard is no longer something that you can do with this kind of data. So we need to also be looking at our benchmarks that we continue to utilize that do get down to a more granular level, other data that would help us inform program.
So by having a study session, we can look at the grade levels, the differences, what kind of budgetary decisions are we making in providing resources? Are we getting out of those budgetary decisions? Are we getting improved achievement? So it'll help us make much more better informed decisions. But we need to have a study session on the data and just really dig into it. This is very high level overall. There's many, many, many factors that go into this course.
So can you drill down into that data to find out, say, school A is really shown improvement over the previous year. And what did they do that was different, that increased their scores versus another school that did not show a significant increase?
Well, you could do that with the level of data that I just presented. I mean, you can see by looking at the bars that, you know, there's one school X over the other.
Well, I mean specifically. Well, because they taught this and this and this versus this and this and that. Or a method that one used versus what the other one didn't use. And so we, with an educator, can find the key.
I think that,
Boy, if I could do that.
It'd be rich if you found the key.
I think that's exactly what I'm suggesting, is because we have different kinds of intervention programs at each of our sites, and we have different types of sites that fit different student needs, that should be something that we're looking at. So we're having more success here. What are they doing? And is it something that we should be replicating at this site over here, but still be able to have it maintain its identity of who it is as choice? And we can do that, putting up what we've budgeted and allocated for A, B, C, and D at Calaveras, R.L. Hardin, and HDLA, and then what's happening over here, and looking at the different student segments as well. Just really seeing where we're putting our resources, you know, is it making a difference? I would suggest that we do that. I think that would be a good idea for us to do, especially as we're going into this budgetary time where we're not getting increasing funds, and we've kind of leveled off from where we're going to get from LTFF. It's time for us to really look at where we're getting improved student achievement. Now, I will warn, we have 2 years. In 2 years, 2 data points do not make a trend. However, it is something we should start looking at now so that we can be looking to as we go forward, not wait and then take in all this data. Let's get an understanding of where we are now so that we can start making those decisions, forecasting, making some long-term.
Feeds into how we allocate our Title I dollars as well, because that is a categorical program that is specifically designed to address these needs.
And I think for what we learned this Saturday at our retreat, you know, from the consultant, you know, he did show us some really good data on high-performing boards and what their focus is on. 65% of high-performing boards focus solely on student achievement, and the rest is, you know, on the other end where you're not focusing on just finances or facilities. So we have to switch our focus and be more student achievement oriented, focus on what we need to do to improve where we need to improve. And moving in that direction, I think we all need to, we're accountable to our community on these test results, nobody else. So we definitely need to start focusing and spending more time in this area.
And I surely don't want people to hear that all of a sudden we're going to be focusing on numbers every day of our life, because behind those numbers are true people called students and called teachers and administrators. So it's what needs to happen for the people in the system so that everyone in the system thrives. So what kind of support resources need to be given.
Can you get me, maybe not this year, because last year was the first year, the data from the high school to find out how the freshmen were prepared?
That's actually publicly, you can get it right on the CDE website, cap.cde.ca.gov. It's the California Department of Education website, and there's a specific page that is for CAS results, and anybody in the public can see anything.
There's a feature we can add, like, yeah.
Ms. Clower did an awesome presentation on the task, so everything pretty much is there. So you can pull that presentation down as well and look at the ninth graders. You know, so we don't have to do all the work, she's done it for us.
Isn't that nice of her?
Yeah. being your student. We're getting better. Where are you? You put 12. Is there a specific, which 12? 12A, 12B?
I think they are maybe J, K, L, and M.
J, L, and M?
And
N. So, on the consent, did you write? Just so that this was for the record. Yeah, so, so for, I'm just gonna go ahead and approve the non-items that we're gonna pull. Okay, and then I'll open it back up so that we can come in and talk about the ones that you want to discuss or, you know. So item 12 are the consent items. These items are considered routine and may be enacted by the board in one motion. There's no discussion on these items prior to the motion unless a specific item is removed from the consent. So at this point, I would like to request a motion to approve 12A through D, 12F through I, 12M, 12O through T.
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now we have a public speaker card for 12J, K, L, and N. Cheryl, would you like to come to the podium?
Thank you and good evening, Madam President, board members, and Dr. Andrew. I wanted to talk about the consent items mostly because the description of them says that these items are considered routine. And I'm asking that not everything really should be routine in these, and that the ones that I'm addressing aren't routine when you look at the details of the contracts themselves. The things that I wanted to bring up are these are all special education or health services positions, and these are people that we need, so that's not the issue. The issue is the hourly wages that we're paying these people. The top earning Hollister School District teacher with 31 years of experience can only expect to make about $68 an hour. 31 years. Here we have contracts for $95 an hour. We have a contract for $125 an hour. We have a contract for $80 an hour. And we have contracts for $48 and $58 an hour. A 13-year veteran makes about $50 an hour. And so while these people are all really necessary, I would hope that this is a tough pill to swallow. When you look at the teachers that the board talks about respecting and valuing so very much. We just saw those test scores. The teachers got those kids to that point. The kids are working really hard. The teachers are motivating the children to work really hard. The teachers are working with the parents to keep their students working very hard. When we hire people from agencies such as these private contract people, they don't have to attend staff meetings. They don't have to attend training. They don't have to do yard duty. And so while everybody may not know the salaries that they're getting, they certainly see it. I saw it today. You know, a particular person, the person at Loud Lane didn't go to the staff meeting. Didn't have to. So instead of the hour that I spent at the staff meeting, which was absolutely ridiculous if you're still here.
Why, thank you.
He could have very easily been lounging or writing an IEP, which is what I needed to do. So these people are critical to the work that we do for our kids. But why does Hollister School District need to go outside and get agencies? I don't know what all makes up $95 an hour. I don't know what makes up $125,000 salary at $95 an hour. So if Hollister School District, by virtue of paying that, providing that employee with completely covered health and welfare benefits, is Hollister School District providing that employee transportation costs to go back and forth? So these are important people, and I'm not questioning the need for them. But I just wanted you to know this was a piece that is hard to understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
At this point, do we have a motion to approve contracts for both J, K, L, and N?
What are the items?
J, K, L, and N.
Okay, I move that we approve the remainder of the consent agenda.
Do we have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
It is, if I can make a comment, it is difficult to fill some of these positions. And I mean, I've worked in healthcare, and I know that getting staff to fill the blanks is very expensive. And it's not like you can hire the people that you call in either, because then it gets even more expensive. So, yes, I would expect that if we could hire people to fill those positions, we would.
I'm sure that we would. I'm sure that we would, because they were posted positions. And it's just, why aren't we finding the people to just come in-house?
But you have medical degrees and stuff like that. The unfortunate part is you can't get a behavior therapist for under $125 an hour outside of school.
We're gonna need yeah.
So I had just for not so much that, but on the parliamentary process, because what is the process of pulling for if an individual says they want to come up and ask to pull it?
Provide comment.
Yeah, they want.
As far as an individual, the agenda is our agenda.
Yeah.
So the only people that can pull anything off the agenda is the board.
Oh, well, just because.
She pulled things for discussion and questions, for us to provide us with additional information or comments on her concerns, so we can provide them the right to do that. But they cannot pull anything off the agenda.
Why just.
And the president has an option.
Yeah. No, I get that. I just want to make sure it's there, because if someone else asks, then we also give them the opportunity to say, why is this like?
I think it's the word of pull. The items were not pulled from the agenda. The items were taken out for comment. So then comment was provided. The items, the only people who can pull an agenda item is the board. But these items were taken out for comment.
So then if there's a question about it, about if any, you know, about another item from citizens, and it's the way that they ask us.
Well, again,
They can come comment.
right. Anybody can make public comment, but if they can't hold an agenda item. The board.
And the description under consent is there is no discussion on these items prior to the motion unless a specific item is removed from the consent list to then provide either the audience or the board the opportunity to discuss.
But yeah,
Thank you for clarifying.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure because I know, you know, Mr. Bernowski has to comment on something.
He has to remove something off the agenda.
No, it was a comment. I was using the nomenclature the city council uses to pull something from consent. So,
My whole context of my statement is not in favor of anything besides just being fair, that's all.
All right, moving on. Item 13. This is the 2014 general obligation GO bond consent items. So these are also considered routine and may be enacted by the board in one motion. There's no discussion on these items prior to the motion unless a specific item is removed from the consent list. So, okay, so since we have public comment for 13B. Right now, are there any other? Okay. So the only one left to make a motion to approve is 13A at this time.
I'm looking at 13A.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. So we have a speaker card for 13B.
Yes.
Would like to come to the podium, please.
Have you done?
once again, Madam President and board members, thank you. With regards to the contract under consideration here, while I appreciate the overture of a discount being received by the district on police consulting services, I want to make sure that the compensation arrangement is clearly understood. Based on the letter received, the vendor would be due more compensation for work already performed had he billed the district at the hourly rate, but he was paid at the percentage rate, which results in less compensation than the hourly rate he claims. In the spirit of everyone getting along, the vendor is extending a discount for work already performed to get to the lower rate. I don't get it. I too bill by the hour, but I will switch to a percentage arrangement when it is in my best interest to do so, meaning there's considerable upside potential. I'm a skeptic by nature, true enough, but my role as a committee member, that's the Citizens Oversight Committee member, is specifically to be skeptical. Have you asked what the trade-offs are? Is there any analysis you have reviewed or done yourself prior to acting tonight on the theory that 4% of construction costs saves the district money? Is it possible that the net profit the vendor might realize is greater when he is on a percentage basis, when he has none of the support staff indicated in this proposal when he attempted to show depth and breadth of the organization? Is that his reward? A key component of the request for qualification is presumably the award of same, and the very structure of the agreement surrounds the naming of key personnel. In arrears, it appears that you are once again showing the favoritism to the exclusion of the other bidders. You asked everybody to show their depth of organization and their key personnel. Now you're changing the contract and saying it's not important. That's not fair to the other bidders. As a side note, we all received a letter from the district that stated the committee recommended the change in compensation at its September 10th, 2015 meeting. I have reviewed the minutes to that meeting and found that the committee did not make any such recommendation. Furthermore, I don't know that it is in the committee's duties to make any such recommendation. If nothing else, in my role as a member and officer of the Measure N Citizens Oversight Committee, I have gone to great lengths to keep the committee on its statutory tasks, which is primarily opining on what the district has done, not giving the district direction. Let's review. You put out a criteria-based RFQ, awarded it in a way kept secret from the public. Remember, you gave me the award scores, you just didn't say what the criteria was for those scores. Now you're changing the criteria to suit the vendor ultimately selected. I don't know that that is legal. In writing, you stated that you awarded based on the lowest cost. So you awarded the contract because he had the lowest cost. But now you're changing the compensation arrangement. Again, that seems illegal at the state level. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Back to the board. Okay, do we have a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Next item is 14, the 2014 general obligation bond. Discussion action. It is the approval of the Sunny Slope Elementary School Master Plan Project, Phase 1. Dr. Andrew.
I'm going to challenge Director of Facilities,
All right.
John.
Your John's going to
Yes. With the help of, it takes two of us. 14, Enter. Great. All right. Lisa Andrew, Superintendent, here talking to you tonight about the Sunny Slope Elementary School Master Plan Project. Under the rationale, I just want to give a little bit of history to remind us that at the April 26, 2016 board meeting, the Facilities Committee presented an update and a recommendation for the board to consider an optional plan for the use of Measure M bond funds for Sunny Slope Elementary School. The Facilities Committee recommended a two-phase master plan that would include the addition of a new portable administration building, 13 new portable classroom buildings, a new portable restroom, storage building, a new portable library meeting center, and the demolition of older classrooms and the creation of new turf fields and the reconfiguration of the parking lot. In other words, the Sunny Slope teachers have said, wow, it's finally going to happen. So here is a picture of the master plan phase 1, and the board accepted the proposed Sunny Slope Elementary School master plan and directed staff to identify costs, construction, and aesthetic options and report to the board at the May 24th board meeting. At the May 26th special board meeting, staff presented an update on the projected costs, construction, and aesthetic options for phases A, B, and C, or A, B, C for phase 1 and phase 2 of Sunny Slope Elementary, the master plan. You direct the staff to move forward with design plans for an option C with an estimated project cost of $11.25 million. So here, the first phase, if you look, let's center ourselves where the purple building is, okay, because that's the existing multi-use room. New construction would be on the other side of the multi-use room, with the yellow being new classrooms, the green being a new restroom, and the peach color being a new kindergarten classrooms. So, and then with the new kindergarten play area, putting the kindergarten and first grade and younger students closer to what's going to be the new administration building in blue and multi-use. Right now, they walk a long way to get to that multi-use building. And so in phase 1, what you just saw with the colors on the plan is the new relocatable administration office and staff lounge, a new relocatable restroom building, 3 new relocatable TKK classrooms, 10 new 1st through 5th grade, a new pickup drop-off, controlled access for safety and security, and the new fire alarm system. Phase 2 would be as needed, and we know we've talked a lot about if Measure B passes, if Prop 51 passes? If not, where would we put students? How would we arrange? So saying all that happens, and we would then go into phase 2, and there you see the new turf area. We would take down those classrooms. So you want me to go, I don't know if I go backwards. And then we're making the new turf area, and now you see the new red building attached to the blue, which is, we're looking at a joint use library with the county. If we were to have further expansion and need, we could put some more classroom buildings in phase 3 as needed, where that first turf area is. If you look, you see the additional restroom and yellow buildings in that one turf area. All right. So the cost projection was also given to the board. There's a recount of that, which you were all given again. And so tonight, we would like to recommend that the board approve the Sunny Slope Elementary School Master Plan Project Phase 1. Just putting in the new administration.
Questions for Dr. Andrew?
I'm really excited with the thought of Sunny Slope getting some special attention and some TLC and some things that they've needed for quite a while. And they spruce it up and add some more grass in between the buildings. And I've worked with the facilities plan now for 3 years, and I think it's exciting.
Oldest is, I believe, our second oldest in our district. So, just like our garden, it needs a lot of attention. And so it hasn't really changed since it was created. I went to kindergarten there. So I mean, you love the school. It's unique, but it's definitely in need of a lot of things. So I think, you know, it being our second school, a focus and should be what we make sure we put our attention onto.
When I met with the staff last week or the week before, and they're asking, is this really going to happen? I said, no, it's happening. We've got the plans, and the board looked at it and approved, and we're moving forward. And then I also, when I ate lunch with students last week and walked with the little guys all the way over to enjoy the salad bar, which you'll hear about next month, I thought, okay, this is definitely a track, and the way that you've all approved laying it out and doing such is really going to make a huge difference, not just aesthetically, but just in how this school functions for day to day.
So do we have a motion for more discussion to approve?
I motion that we approve the Sunny Slope Elementary School Master Plan Project Phase 1.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is 15A. This is our discussion action item under Facility Committee update, approval of Measure B project priority list. And we have Facility Committee members. Member?
In spirit.
Okay.
Member.
Your mini. Yeah, that's your impact.
It's a Red Bull.
Madam President, honorary board members, Dr. Andrew, Dr. Kurtz. It's a great pleasure to be a member of the Facilities Committee. I'm a member for 3 years, and I've watched this committee really grow together and a diversified group of people that really care at all levels. There's teachers, there's administrators, parents, and board members that have made a giant contribution. And it's tonight talking about Measure B is an important part of that process. And so what we're looking at today is the Measure B bond initiative is really about building a brand new school. We've had growth now, and we have growth projected to where we need facilities for our students and learning space. The cost of a K-8
the school is close to 52 million. And when you look at our bonding capacity, 36 million, there's potential there to build the school over time. There's also other options that we can talk about here that would also increase that. Gatling Hills was one such school that was built over time to a history of doing that well. And it's a wonderful opportunity to meet the needs of our students in our growing district. There's a couple different options for this planned school that, of course, will be explored. But this new school isn't all that our district needs. We have facility needs and different things. And an example is a cooling unit here that we have at Rancho. We recently replaced some cooling units over days. And you can see that there's other synergy budgetary options for us that we can exploit or use to benefit our district. And they include different propositions that are coming and also developer fees. And so the opportunity for this possible synergy is unique. And it's a good time to probably talk about optimal options that we have. And so if you take a look at this budget outlay, it describes the projected need of the school cost of $52 million. It has the bonding capacity, should we be fortunate that November for about $36 million. And the deficit of the money remaining could be made up by matching funds from the state, which would create a surplus for these other things that we're going to need. And as important as one school is, we also have, I think, as this committee has shown, an ability to look across the district and see needs not just in our backyard, but across our district. That gives us wonderful opportunities also with modernization funding. If we tie those budgets together, you have a potential $26 million. If you take developer fees at an optimal rate of the growth that we're seeing, we could definitely in the future see up to $51 million in additional options that we have looked at over a long period of time. And if you take a look at the list that's in front of you, it is not only capital outlays, but safety outlays. And they look at the needs across of all of our students at all levels, all places. And if you were to take a look at that and really kind of delve in, these aren't put in priority. I think they're all recognized as being important. And those are the things later for us to determine if we're going to force their guidance in direction. So this is kind of where the committee has kind of brought something to brought forward. And I think the last thing that if I could say on this that's important is, again, this committee represents a commitment that a lot of people have over time. And it's really an honor to be a part of that and to really grow with the district and see just how the vision and the kindness and thoughtfulness that's in there. So anyway, that's where we're asking forward. So if consideration, we would love to recommend approval of the proposed projection list for Measure B, the bond initiative, if additional funding is available.
Thank you, Scott, for coming out and giving us a wonderful presentation. So I'm speaking on behalf of the other committee members as well, because I know they have definitely spent a lot of evenings coming together, talking about everything, and you know that they're passionate and they want to see our district just improve. And not just, within every aspect, being able to touch every single school in the way they need the TLC. So it's just, from the board, please let them know we appreciate all their hard work, and it doesn't go unappreciated because you and your committee members make what we need to do a lot easier because you're doing all the heavy lifting for us. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
So it is before the board this evening that we approve the proposed Measure B project priority list for the November 2016 bond measure.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
I just want to say, great showing up. Principals really came out today, being collaborative with the union members as well, the union leadership. So, great showing up.
The next item is 15B, approval of the revised new school site and joint use conceptual plan with the county of San Benito at the Santana Ranch. Dr. Andrew.
So we moved from Measure M, Sunny Slope, to Measure B, the priority list. So part of that priority list is what the conceptual plan should be for the new site. And again, this is very large site, so that gives us a lot of really nice options to build something for the community. We were looking at a TK through 8th grade configuration at this site, over 900 students. It's an estimated cost right now of $52 million, and we really are working diligently and very well at this point with the County of San Benito to have a park adjacent to the new school. I'll show you some plans for that. Again, this is just giving you a timeline of how this conversation has progressed with you as a board. We did present 4 site conceptual plans. There was one that the board liked, and there were aspects of it of that conceptual plan they liked. I'm actually going to show you a new rendition of that tonight, with in mind about the joint use and the community use, areas for the community, as well as a little bit look at where we can centralize services for our students at the site. We're still meeting to discuss the feasibility of making sure that we want to do this joint use with the county, but we also don't want to be held up by the county. So how can we make sure we move forward and build our new site, continue the conversation with the county, but and so that we can have a nice area, that's a nice site, but that we can still move forward with the school. And so you'll see this new revised plan. So if all things were to come to, this is the one that you had liked in prior. And you see the yellow buildings are the classrooms, and then you see the administration building and multi-use are in the peach and the purplish blue. You see where that dotted blue line is? That is the division between our land and the county land. And so you can see that in this conceptual design, most of our parking lot would be in the county, some of the blacktop. So how can we design something that we can still move forward, no matter what the timeline of the county gives? So we've come up with this plan. And you can see we've put the parking lot all on our piece of the land. And now what we've done is we've divided the site and put the administration and media center in the middle, so that there's no long walking to get to the media center or to the administration building. It makes it a little bit more secure, so that we can keep track of where all of our kiddos are at one time. The yellow buildings are 2-story buildings, and very exciting to see how we're going to be able to make them design with light and maximizing our space on this piece of land. You see then we're able to move the basketball courts and everything that we need for our students onto our section. And so let's say that everything does go well with the county, then we'll be able to extend the parking lot on their side because there'll be more use, and then put down the track, some additional basketball courts, and an additional play structure. So we could still move forward and have all the play area that we need, the parking that we need, while we were still working with the county.
There's some challenges with this plot of land too.
Yes.
It's not flat.
Right.
It's got a nice slope to it, which either has to be built up or brought down. And so that's why the green space, the ball fields are
so large.
Lower.
Yeah.
Because they will be lower.
Yeah. Working with what Mother Nature gives us. So this would be the joint use conceptual plan that we would like to move forward with approval tonight. Questions for Dr. Edwards?
I like it.
With the last schematic of what you can be used during the day for the public.
Yes.
And then after school is out, then the other area will be made available to the public for their ball fields and basketball games and whatever.
So for when we do the initial build, we will have some fencing in the back just to provide that
Yes.
security.
Yes. Yes. And you can see that we've compacted the buildings for the security purposes. And again, making administration and media center more central, easier access for use during the day. With still the gymnasium being closest to where we would build out for the county so that they could have joint use of that more readily. So keeping that on the outer edge.
How's that conversation going with the county?
It's going very well. Very, very well. It's it's also, we can plan, we can have conversation, we can agree, we can talk about how the community would access this, and then there's that thing called your checkbook. That is always where the conversation ends. And it's our hope that the county would move forward with funding. The community definitely is in need and definitely wants areas like this. So this really shows our good faith that we want to build a community, a place the community can use after hours, but as well as just the use of the land itself.
And like we were talking about, the whole concept of lighting.
Yes.
And I mean, we've gone to some of these conferences where you're looking at all the new designs for schools, natural lighting, how that affects, instead of using fluorescent lighting.
Yes.
And just the ability to structure, the classroom so differently than what we were used to, or what we're used to, and just incorporating some of those new ideas and concepts into this new school so that we can show what those new conceptual ideas that are being shared amongst, not just California, but, the whole nation of what that looks like, how kids are learning now differently, and trying to see if we can incorporate that into this new school, that approach.
Before JT went on vacation, we had gotten some conceptual designs of the classroom and where to put the windows and the angle and which north facing, south facing, and what the view would be and then with the classroom. It's very exciting the things that they're considering and doing the build out, because I was always, well, if we're on the bottom floor, what kind of view are we going to have of the parking lot, or what's going to happen if you're on the top floor? And they're building in all the energy efficiency, and it's really exciting.
Now, the other thing that comes to mind is when we do our drills.
Yes.
And our safety drills, and just because we don't have any schools here that are 2-story.
Mm-hmm.
And so what does that look like? How can we incorporate just, the lockdowns and the fire drills and, so that the site itself lends itself to ensure that we've got the areas that we need to do what we need to do in case of emergency.
And luckily, we have lots of others that have gone before us with 2-story buildings, and lots of learnings that have done from that. And so all of those things are in consideration up to current code, current standards.
Would we ever put solar? If so, where?
Yeah. Let's not go there right now. We're in a commitment that we probably shouldn't have ever gotten into this point yet.
We're looking at all energy efficiency measures possible.
That being said, I mean, you can always refinance the agreement, right?
Yeah. It's just
So, with the conceptual plan, it looks really nice, but what is the tangible for joint use? I haven't.
Yes, been in some of our meetings.
Around.
The county, that
Yeah,
county.
what is the county gonna pay, and what does it mean, what are the fees gonna be assessed with sharing the facilities?
So I can tell you that we're paying for that. And we would have to talk about, there has been no exact dollar amount about who's going to pay for that. We don't, in this bond, we don't have money to pay for that. So our bond, and what we're asking for approval of in finance is the school. And that's it. So if we wanted to move forward with the other, then the county would have to put resource into it. And then we would have to talk about maintenance of it and how much use are we going to use this during the day? What would be our fair share of paying for that? It's kind of the opposite of what we're doing right now in the city.
But this, the 12 point, what did we say? 12 how many acres?
Well, this
It's just for what's on our
Site.
site.
mm-hmm.
So the rest would be for the county to purchase, or they've already purchased it.
I don't know that. We would have to get the details from JT on that. I don't know the depth of that.
Because the bond would have to be specific to only. the
Our bond is
priority
specific to our school.
Yeah, otherwise, right, so you can't it's county property, but at any point in time, there's gotta be something that separates the dollars that we're spending specifically for the bond.
Yeah. So where that blue line is, that's us. And that's what our bond and what we're financing, we're asking taxpayers to contribute.
But they're open to conversation.
And they love the idea and it's beautiful, but they've got to.
Any questions?
Good idea.
And the county, we have plans for the county to continue to come back to give you updates on where their conversations are with that, like he's come to 2 other times. You'll hear directly from them.
It was recommended that the board approve the revised new school site and joint use conceptual plan with the county of San Diego.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Dr. Andrew.
Thank you.
The next one is also yours. It is 15C, the agreement with IBI Group for master planning of the proposed new school at San Ridge.
So now you've seen what the proposal is. Now we need to move forward with IBI to draw the conceptual plan.
I know that they are, this term, I think it's LEED certified. To produce energy efficiency. And so they will be working with our specifications as to what we want and what we need to make it a school size.
Do we have a motion to approve the agreement with IBI Group?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
15D is the updated board policy 9250. Green.
So it's backwards.
Yeah, enumeration.
Okay, enumeration.
We'll have,
Reimbursement and their benefits.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, we'll sign.
All right, good evening. So, okay, so essentially what this is, the current board bylaw says that board members can participate in the health and welfare benefits program that all of our employees also take part in. And also, this benefits provided to you will also be extended to the same level as your spouse's dependents and so on. Due to a recent change in how our health benefits provider classifies non-compensated board members, there may result in a very large out-of-pocket premium increase. So essentially how that works is we have sort of two sort of plan areas. One for active employees, which the board is currently able to participate in. The other is the retirees. Now, one is a composite rate, the other one is a tiered rate. So as of October 1st, our benefits provider says, well, if board members are not compensated with minimum of at least $400 per year, they have to move into this retiree pot. Now, those of you with family spouses, any sort of dependent on your health insurance, could see your rates increase out of pocket up to about $540 per month. So the way to avoid this and to follow along with bylaw BB 9250 to make sure that the board members are able to participate in a health and welfare program as district employees, we have to amend the current board bylaw that states that there is no compensation for board members to a minimum that would be acceptable to our current health benefits provider. So what that means is that according to California Education Code, board members can receive compensation, I think, at a district this size, about $240 per month. Now, what we're saying here in this change, this proposed change to the bylaw is that each board member would receive $35 per month, which would be $420 annually. That way, that would keep you from incurring these huge health benefits costs. So, California, if I'm not mistaken, it's California Education or Government Code states that the payment has to be monthly, so it has to be monthly compensation, and it must be documented. Members do not show up to board meetings, so that is what this new board bylaw is stating. So it's basically saying, you can keep the same health and welfare benefits as the active employees that you have now, but in order for the district to be able to provide those, we also have to compensate you. So this bylaw basically changes the current one from this being voluntary, from board members being voluntary to saying we will compensate you $35 per month. As an employee. It's not considered an employee for many purposes, but for purposes of our health benefits provider, that's what they want to see. They want to see people who are active employees, and their criteria is someone who earns minimum $400 per year.
Now, this isn't new board policy. This is just updating it from current language. And just so that everyone's clear, this is the first reading on this update on Board Bylaw 9250. Unless
I just don't know, is there any legal issues with putting into the agreement?
No, the way we're phrasing it is legally how it should be. Yeah, it's consent by the lawyer. So you could pay $240 per month. We're only going to pay you $35. Okay, absolutely.
Well, if there's no more questions, I move that the board waive the second reading of the changes to bylaw 9250. The board approve the amendments to bylaw 9250 as recommended.
Sounds good. A second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Sure.
15E is resolution number 12:16-17
the lack of work and or lack of funds. As we remember, in February, at a regular board meeting, February 23rd, there was a state of the preschool report conducted by coordinator Kim O'Connor, and at that time, fiscal director Kathy Kane, regarding the state of the budget for the preschool program. At that particular moment in time, the financial impact to the general fund was around $100,000. That was the general fund contribution to offset the cost to operate 6 sessions. Later on in the year, we received more updates as the budget was adopted and the different financial documents were posted and made official. On May 26, 2016, a resolution was brought before the board to have a reduction in staff to try to reach fiscal solvency for the state preschool program. At that moment, at that time, the sessions for the state preschool went from 6 to 3 to try to achieve a smaller, if not a lesser or non-existent contribution from the general fund to the state preschool program. Unfortunately, at this time, I come before you again to request consideration and approval of Resolution 121617 for a further reduction in staff of the state preschool staff members. The current resolution is requesting a reduction of 0.438 FTE for a preschool specialist position and 0.438 FTE for a state preschool associate bilingual person, staff member. That is the teaching position and the assistant position, bringing a total of FTE reduction for the classified member as at 0.875 FTE. Should this resolution be approved tonight, it takes effect November 28th, where the district would continue employing the current staff for the 60 days that the contract states. The staff I've had the privilege to work with has done an outstanding and tremendous job, and I'd like to recognize that. This is a part of my work that is difficult, and however, I come before you tonight to unfortunately bring this matter to the board and ask for your guidance. I don't know if there's any questions.
The children that are in the classroom that expected to be visible, there is room for them in other classrooms within the program?
That's a very good question. It is my understanding that the classroom with the least enrollment currently has 8 or 9 on roster, 8 present. There are different programs within the San Benito County, and that is part of the reason why there's an oversaturation in certain geographical areas of preschool programs for this particular income bracket. My understanding is that there is a program physically very close to a current preschool classroom that could absorb these students that have the same income guidelines and requirements. So that would be our the wish, that we would have, is that these children do not have the disruption in service. Unfortunately, if this resolution does pass, the service would not be provided by the Hollister School District, but nonetheless, they would be provided with an opportunity to continue in the preschool.
We're costing the parents essentially the same amount of money.
This is a free program, so there's no cost to the parents. And the program that the students would transfer to, is my understanding, is that it's a no-cost program. It's the same type of grant setup and guidelines, the same financial requirement, so it is a free program. Any other questions?
But it sounds like they're leaving the district as well.
They currently, technically are not enrolled in the district. They're not, these students for state preschool are not in our, student information system like an enrolled TK on up student is. We do not receive the same ADA type of funding. This particular grant is a reimbursement type of grant. A student has to be present each and every day of the program, with the exception of 10 best interest days. So when a child is not sitting in the state preschool program, the program is reducing the maximum amount of reimbursement. At this point, if all 3 classrooms were filled with the 16 students and they were there each and every day, 180 days, the amount of finances coming into the district still would not be enough, unfortunately, to cover the cost of staff.
Well, maybe I should have phrased the question differently, because basically what I meant is they're leaving their current environment, and they're going to have to be basically sent to a different program that's similar, and that has the same, but it's not necessarily within it's not within the same program. It's a separate program.
It is a different providing agency that would provide the service. Just, so that we can geographically kind of picture this in our mind. We currently have one state preschool program at Otto Harden on Line Street. Adjacent to that is Go Kids on South Street around the corner that provides state preschool. That program there has openings that could potentially absorb any of the enrollment if families are interested and choose to, walk their children around that block. That is not the only option available, but that's the one that comes to mind.
Anything we can do to support transfer?
Everything for that. And when I met with the preschool staff today, I think we talked about that the staff needs to be part of the problem solving in the next step. They know the community, they know the family, and to make sure that it's really in the best interest of our students, making that transition so difficult as comfortable as possible. They care about, obviously, students very, very much, and their families very, very much. And it was agreed that they would be part of the next steps and planning for that, and not outside of those conversations.
I think for us, this is probably one of the hardest things in our lands. So it isn't anything that we like to consider, but unfortunately in this situation, in the decline that we've seen, the demand for the program, unfortunately, it doesn't give us many options. And I just want to commend all of you for taking the time today to meet with Dr. Andrew, just to be able to talk about what was going to happen today. It is important for us, for you to feel heard, and that your voice does matter when we make decisions like this, because they're not taken lightly. And so I just want you to know that, our heart does go out to you, and we will do our best to work at trying to figure out, what it is that we can do to make programs like this a little bit more successful. But I think that's what, Dr. Andrew was talking about. Is, it takes all of us to kind of work to see what we can do to demonstrate, the quality, the effort that you guys put out, every day for these little guys. And we just want to make sure that, they're safe first and foremost. And it's just, it's not an easy thing. But I don't want you to walk away tonight thinking that we don't care. We do.
What kind of relationship do we have with Go Kids?
I don't know that. Erica, do you know that? She's done it.
So Go Kids and the Hollister School District, both participate in part of, called the local, child care planning council. Years ago, when or with time, I would say that that bond or that, relationship has strengthened. The, director of, Go Kids has demonstrated interest and, has demonstrated and shared, the fact that they do have openings. The different child care agencies or state preschool recipients of the funding, everybody is in communication with each other as far as speaking what our enrollment is, who needs what. Everybody participates with different types of networking meetings on behalf of First Five San Benito. So the conversation and the networking has taken place as far as having Go Kids as an agency be available to work with the Hollister School District and pick up the enrollment should this resolution.
My curiosity is what can we put in place that would create a little bit more of a healthier transition as far as even accountability. I imagine what the parents' biggest concern is, how is my kid going to adapt? If they're up in the one environment, they're having to shift gears to a totally different environment. Granted, it's the same program and everything, but
I totally agree. And with that, making that transition as smooth as possible, not only for the children, but for the adults involved. We will have the 60 days of still having kids and teachers in place. We'll give us time to plan and to make it a healthy transition. Whether teacher goes over with the student to the new class, or they're in the new class with the student, that walks over with the parent, all of those sorts of things. Like when we welcome students into the new classroom, so that our teachers can help transition the students into their new environment. And being there in the environment with them, walking over, talking, meeting with the parents.
we can maybe even with the parents input can have a pretty solid impact on how that could happen to where you might be able to, if the board president allows.
Actually, at this point, it's, if you do not have a speaker card, it would.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yes, you did, and that was during public comments. So if you want to add something, the question has to be to the board. It can't be directed to staff. So if you'd like to come to the podium and ask us a question.
Thank you. I'm Jennifer, and I'm just listening right now. You are thinking to send the kids to Go Kids. That program is similar to PrEP, but I hear that it's a different thing. That is a daycare. It's not a preschool, and I would like to keep my son in the way that it's right now. Sorry, I'm really.
That's okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have 60 days to work hard. That's
Absolutely. Ladies are more than dedicated. As well as staff, the coordinator is difficult. It's difficult for everyone involved. Easy for everybody. But we have the 60 days.
Can I make the motion to approve with maybe a board or a report, maybe a month down the road on what the process is and see if there's anything that.
Absolutely. We can report on that.
concerns or anything, please bring it forward.
And then the extra kids for
On item 15F, it's resolution number 8/16-17 in the matter of Proposition 51, kindergarten through community college public education facilities bond act of 2016.
Yes. So this is a resolution that the board would be stating that they are in favor of Proposition 55, which,
51.
51. Oh, I'm ahead. Yes, Proposition 51. Otherwise known as the state facilities bond. This is, as you saw with the project list, should when Measure B passes and Prop 51 passes, it then gives us the ability to apply for an additional $26 million, and which will then allow us to not only build the new school, but take care of everything on that priority list. So we're asking that you pass the resolution in support of Prop 51 as it definitely moves forward the district's desire to build a new school and to fulfill the facilities priority list. Questions?
I move to approve resolution number 8/16/17, the matter of Proposition 51 in the state ballot.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Item 15G is resolution number 11/16-17 in the matter of support for Proposition 55, which is the Children's Education and Healthcare Protection Act of 2016. Dr. Andrew.
So Proposition 55 ensures it's not a new, it's a continuation of Prop 30, and so that should it not pass, we would experience cuts and go back to where we were before Prop 30. So this is in support of keeping in place the taxes that are currently there with our current level of funding.
And this would extend it for 12 more years. Any questions?
Not a new one, but an extension of an existing one.
There's no questions. I motion that we approve resolution 11/16-17, matters of support for Prop 55.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Item 15H, the updated board policies and administrative regulations for March 2016. Dr. Andrew.
So we have the latest round of updated policies from CSGA. We're looking to have this round approved tonight, and then we can update on the policies with the
Yes, it is.
first reading.
We will go to staff for updating, and then we will come back.
Actually, they do. And staff, they do.
Do we have any questions? Okay.
Yeah.
Motion to approve the board policies as the first reading.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I think CSBA likes to edit.
Somebody has a full-time job, they're doing that, I'm sure.
Okay, we are on item 16, board member reports. Who would like to report out?
Okay. I went to a few back to school nights in May, Calaveras, and the meet and greet that we did at Sunnysville. I worked on our Measure B campaign, went ribbon cutting and Carl Harden, facilities planning meeting and ribbon cutting at HDLA, and the board retreat, and the board evaluation.
I apologize, I missed the board retreat. My 2-year-old had a fever and really bad. He was really sick, so I wasn't able to make it. So I was torn. When it's like, you could go. But I did go to the meet and greet, and that was awesome. And I thought I thought the goal was really clear to the public that we really wanted to engage with you guys. That was really the goal. To learn to engage. You know, it's hard to not create biases when there's too many layers of separation, and it's a lot easier to work together when you're actually eliminating those. And that's what that intent was. The dialogue to really happen to really let you know that we're part of your community and care just as much as you, because I have a 2-year-old, and we want to make sure we're doing our best for all of our kids. So I love that we did that. I really appreciate you for setting it up. And I appreciate especially the fact that we put a lot of effort in making it a public notice event. You know, that it wasn't just an agendized item, it was something we were very intentional. And I apologize again, I'm not going to be able to make it tomorrow to our gang task force meeting, gang prevention meeting, but I called Mike and he said he's going to be there. So, and technically the chair, so you might have to go that seat.
Who's the alternate? Who's the backup?
Mike and
No, Mike was on the committee. So this is the backup.
This is the backup, yeah. So, and I went to the ribbon cutting on Harding. That was awesome. I was really happy to see Gary. I was like, wow, it felt awesome having, a whole lot of experience between Lisa and Gary sitting right next to each other. That was cool. And always just seeing other members, leaders in the community. That was awesome. Besides city council, I showed up. There was one showed up, but for the most part, it was a good outcome.
I did a lot. So I'm going to keep it short. I went to several open houses. Saw lots of people. And it's great getting out there, getting to meet the community, and not just the schools that our children go to, but all of our children. It was great. I had to go to the ribbon cutting at HDLA. I missed the one at RR, and unfortunately I was in traffic. And closed that up, because I do like to be there. I went to the board retreat. There's a couple of things in my mind, but it was a busy month. Hoping to get back into the swing of things, and be active in the community again.
I went to the board retreat and I also did a few back to school nights. Those are always wonderful because you're able to kind of see what everyone's up to, and they're excited back to school and showing off their classes, and the atmosphere, you can feel it. Everybody's excited to start a new year. So it was nice to see some of the different things that people are excited about showing off in their classroom. Also the meet and greet, along with Peter, I think that's one of the things that I really hope we're able to do more of. I think it really making the connection as a district and just being able to have a different setting other than here, less formal and more engaging, I think does the district a huge benefit for all of us, and just being able to sit down and talk about things that are important to all of us. So I hope we're able to do more of those community engagement types of outreach. I really enjoyed it, and I think our community enjoyed it as well. The ribbon cutting, both were extremely fulfilling. It's exciting to see all the different where we started and
you know, what we ended up with at Oral Hardin. It was so exciting to see that transformation, physical transformation, and even that spiritual transformation in our staff. They're just so excited about, you know, their school. It's a whole different school. It's a whole different mindset now at Oral Hardin, and it's exciting to see. You know, it's the same at HCLA. It just, you can feel it, you know, and with our parents, just our community, you know, having all the different members of our community there to see all the great things that their contribution, you know, in supporting our bond brought forward. And so it's important for them to be invited in to see, you know, all the good things that we're going to be doing with our facilities moving forward, and just the capacity of serving more students, you know, in a better facility. I think is a huge thing for our community to see. Also, the retreat. I think for me personally, we always come out of those retreats just learning a little bit more, knowing how to do our job a little bit better, and not being so afraid to do what we need to do as board members and staying connected. So, and staying connected to each other, I think, is important as well, because not, you know, a cohesive team and a supportive team is able to do a lot more benefit for, I think, our district than one that is not. So I really, you know, appreciate every single one of our board members, because they put 110% effort at all times, you know, to ensure that our kids always first. And they're always looking out for every single student, staff member. And so it's just, it's nice to see that in this district, to know that the example, hopefully, that we're setting, just like capturing kids' hearts, it should be everyone a part of that. And it's an example of that. Hopefully we can set the tone with our new superintendent, you know, that has a heart of gold, in my opinion, and is striving very hard to ensure that we have a different mindset moving forward. I want to appreciate everybody who's in our district, because you all make it possible. Thank you.
I want to comment quickly too about, yay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody got one? It'd be cool to watch progress.
Mm-hmm. The next item is future agenda items.
So we did have a press event at Sunny Slope today about the salad bar pilot. And so next month you'll be getting a report about the salad bar. So it's very exciting. We've had a chance to partake of the salad bar, and then how we will be, students like the salad bar, and how we'll be moving forward with that pilot. So be looking for the press release about that.
There was something already in Benito Link.
Perfect. Yeah, Benito Link's got the scoop. There you go. We'll also, since we pulled the agenda item, we'll have a presentation from the San Benito Arts to give them a presentation on what they'll be doing with our students. We'll also be having a presentation on how to do school transition.
Thank you. Ms. White?
Yeah.
They opened up that time capsule yet?
No, they haven't.
Have you had heard about that yet? Okay. I've had a little bug in my ear a couple days this week. On a possible agenda item I'd like to bring up. They have a time capsule there that's 25 years old.
Oh, wow. Seriously?
And I think at Calaveras, 25 years is a good time to open something like that. And something like, in 25 years, right?
I don't know when, I wasn't know how many.
And I think we could make a really, really good, it'd be a really good opportunity for us all to see that.
That's great.
Almost like this.
How many years ago? I was 20. I want to say how old are you?
Let's see. It's just February.
All right, we'll definitely look into that. That would be the next flash. Wonder what's in
And
there.
please let Dee know I followed through with that.
Wonder what's in there for sure.
There may be coming up. Future agenda items.
I was gonna ask Michelle.
Next item is announcements from Lakers.
I get to go to my first fair.
You're gonna bid on my daughter's cake?
I'm reminding everyone to go to the fair. I'm hoping I'll see you there on Thursday.
That's also when they're judging.
Oh, so I guess I'll be going to the big bit. I'm really excited about it.
You've never been to the fair?
Well, I've never been to this fair.
Yeah,
I've been to the Santa Cruz.
after Sunday,
This,
you'll say you've been to the fair.
there you go. So looking forward to the fair.
I've got a quilt in it.
Oh,
My
your-
grandkids have
your
photographs,
pig.
Very cool.
and my daughter is making bread.
Oh,
Nice.
I've got lots of things to try out. Yes.
You don't get to eat the bread.
Oh, wait.
You're judging.
There may be something else. Oh, yeah. We need to thank you. Thank you, Sunny Club, for the beautiful board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Thank you. And,
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
oh, that's.
Oh, that's right.
that's- yeah.
No more.
Your heart there.
Happy they're getting
All right. Joe's on, so you're both down.
Okay, last item.
I motion that we adjourn.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. It can be. I'm right, I know. Okay,
Don't you have to take those on them?
yeah. I told her not to go to.
Okay.